Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, right.
The assumption is, well, you should be able to play like that and still not turn it over, and that's just incorrect. You can't have it both ways. The only way you can have the ball security numbers the Eagles do is by being cautious.
John, 24, I guess we're, what are we, 24 and change? We're like 30 something hours removed from the end of the Eagles versus Lions game. That was a big game, John. That was a big game. What's kind of your take on the game? Has your take evolved on the game? It always changes for me a little bit when you get a little bit more removed from it. Looking back on the game, any other thing that comes to mind, John, or any evolved opinion or takeaways from the Eagles' big win over the Lions on Sunday Night Football?
Just that I didn't give enough credence to what was going on with the weather from both sides, hearing it from both sides. And, you know, it was, and the Eagles handled it better and they persevered it better and they deserve credit for that. And they should. I mean, they're the outdoor team. Detroit plays indoors, so they handled it better. You know, Dan Campbell demoted John Morton a couple weeks ago, and there's 40-mile-an-hour gusts out there, and you keep throwing the ball down the field with against a ferocious pass rush. You know, Eagles fans constantly, where are the adjustments? Where are the adjustments? You know, but they play that style and they played that style. It didn't work. But that's what I kind of pointed out both weeks. Yeah, the Eagles offense has been bad. So was the Packers offense. So was the Lions offense. And they were worse.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, now you're going to play Dallas, which pretty impressive offensively. Dak Prescott's having a good season. Bad team, but they won on the road last night. 3 touchdowns again. He's got some streak of like 3 touchdown games, 6 or 7. He can chuck the football. So it's going to be a big test in a nice environment. So you're not going to the offenses don't have that. People are going to call it an excuse. It's just reality.
Right.
So they're going to be better. The offenses are going to be better. Doesn't mean the Eagles defense can't play well. I expect them to play well because they're playing well, but it's not going to look that good. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. John, when I watched the Cowboys, by the way, I watched that game last night. Interesting by the Cowboys. It reminds me of 2 things, okay? There's 2 things. There's a positive and a negative. The first thing is it reminds me of your comment that you made recently of they might win or they might pass the ball better, but they would lose more if they had a different style of quarterback. And that's what you see with Dak Prescott, right? And then the other thing is, holy shit, sometimes it's still, even knowing that, it still can be like, man, look at how easy they get the ball to their 2 playmakers.
And by the way, those 2 knuckleheads.
I get it. It's not, doesn't always translate to wins. Dallas is nowhere close to the type of organization we are, but man, they get CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens the ball like they're like, it is so easy for them. I mean,
by the way,
easily.
George Pickens looks like a freaking star.
He is a beast.
But you know, speaking of not, and I don't know, I didn't look, probably because I was having internet issues, but I don't know if Schottenheimer talked about it after the game, but he benched the 2 knucklehead receivers for the first series, which is always amusing to me. Like, what does that accomplish?
I know.
Oh, what
other
a
than
hard
the
ass
quarterback in a worse position and the whole offense in a worse spot.
So, and they popped up here. Twitter is experiencing outage.
Yeah,
blah blah blah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, those 2 receivers are pretty impressive, and they got benched for the first series for whatever they did. But
they're in Vegas, John. Who knows? Maybe they thought
exactly. And then they play him, and they play great, and it's gonna be a test because Dak's having a great year. But their defense stinks. And maybe, Quinnen Williams had a big game in his first game. Maybe he helps a little bit, but the offense has got the Eagles offense has got to show up this week. Can't be 40-mile-an-hour wind offense. It's got to be at least, you know, the top end would be Minnesota offense. I don't think you're going to hit that level again. And then the bottom would probably be these past two games.
Do you weirdly think that the Cowboys could give a good game to? I mean, it's a divisional game. It's always going to be. There's always a chance. It's a good game.
It was close here. I expect it to be a tough game. I do.
Yeah,
I expect it to be a tough game.
Their offense-
They've
their offense
struggled
is better now than it was in the beginning of the year, for sure.
Yeah, the Eagles have had issues, not but down there typically when they're just a good team. It's been a difficult place to play. And Dak's playing at a high level, and obviously, they're going to take chances with their receivers. So there's going to be some big plays, I assume, but there's going to be some play. There's going to be some opportunities to take the football away.
Yeah, Dak was on. He was really good last night. I think he was like 25 to 33 for 4 tutties. But again, as I pointed out just a second ago, it pisses me off from a perspective of, man, they get their playmakers the ball easily. But I also do remind myself of, that's a perfect example of, sometimes moving the ball like you want to move the ball isn't the end all be all and isn't quite the fix that many fans think it is,
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, right.
The assumption is, well, you should be able to play like that and still not turn it over, and that's just incorrect. You can't have it both ways. The only way you can have the ball security numbers the Eagles do is by being cautious.
Yeah. And they're 40 and freaking 2, as we pointed out earlier in the show. Like that offense, like they're not changing at all. They're 40 and freaking 2 with not losing the turnover battle. So anybody who's expecting a bigger offensive output, John, this is why I used the word yesterday. I've reached a sense of enlightenment. All right. I'm done expecting anything more from the offense.
Well, you should expect more.
I don't anymore, John, because I'm setting myself up for disappointment. Okay. They're a bottom offense in the league. And I'm expecting that moving forward, basically, is where I'm at.
I really think people have to look contextually at individual games more. Like, it can't be as bad as Green Bay and Detroit in Dallas because of the environment. Can't be as bad. If it is, it's a catastrophe. A catastrophe. And it's not going to be. It's not going to be that bad. Still might be bad.
Working out of 3 and outs. Who cares? Brandon, I'm telling you, Brandon, reach my level of enlightenment. Just enjoy the defense. That's how we're winning football games right now. And don't turn the ball over. That's what we've basically dumbed it down to, but it's working. So I don't expect them to change it at all. John, plenty of good stuff here. In hour number 2, we're going to talk to Chris Franklin. So that's good news there, or good stuff there. We'll talk to Chris. I'm looking forward to talking to Chris. Coming out of the game, John, obviously we talked about Lane Johnson at the open. That defense, though, on the other side of the ball, they are really clicking on all cylinders. John, what do you think their ceiling is this year? Something we talked about all offseason, and I don't think you were off base with it by saying, I don't know if we're going to be a top 10 defense this year. They lost all these guys. Shit, this defense looks like they could be top freaking 5 by the end of the year if they keep this up. Their unit, John, has been stacking each week, and in my opinion has gotten better as the weeks go on, where the offense is a little bit more up and down, more inconsistent. The defense is stacking. Nakobe Dean looks like a beast. Jalen Phillips has really changed what that defensive line can do. What do you think the ceiling of this defense is this season?
Yeah, well, I want to see this game. Obviously, there's a lot of positive signs, but same thing, opposite end of the spectrum, and that's what I brought up with Dan Campbell yesterday. Raving about his defense, giving up 16 points on the road, yada, yada, yada. That was a tough day for the offenses, a tough day to perform.
Right.
So you have a little added oomph. Now they played outstanding. I don't want to take that away from the Eagles defense because I think the front was just dominant. Um, but I want to see what it looks like with Jalen Phillips in the pristine environment against a team that um, has been effective offensively um, and can move the football. Ultimately, I still think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be as good as it was in Green Bay and against Detroit.
Which is wild because those are two good offenses. Now I get it. The weather, we talked about that. Obviously, that's a big.
I think people are. That's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
people are just like throwing that off to the side, like it's not a big deal. Like it's a big deal. Um, but the defense played well. Is so you want to see it in what you're going to see this Sunday because there is no weather issues. You might have some sun glare, but that's not really relevant. Um, it's not going to look as good, but how good does it look? Uh, I want to see this. So, by all means, laud the defense, laud Vic Fangio. He'll be talking later today. Um, did a phenomenal job, but they were aided by that weather. And I would argue also by Dan Campbell not changing the way he plays. Like that was a Ford Field game plan. It's like, dude, you gotta scale it back. I realize, for the people that say, well, because a lot of people say the Eagles should just impose their will. You can say they should impose their will against Green Bay or Detroit or Dallas this week. You can't impose your will against Mother Nature. She's gonna win.
That's true, man. That's true. All right, so it's fair. So but with that, John. All right, so if you're making the weather that big of a thing, which I appreciate, and I think it's a good point, and then hindsight, as you pointed out, maybe should have put more context on that. Hindsight's always 2020. Should we not be as excited about the defense as we are?
Well, yeah, I think. Well, it depends. I think no, you should be very excited about the defense. You'd be very excited about what Jalen Phillips has added to this team and how everything fits into place. And the younger players getting better and better. And the Kobe being back and all that. It's all positive. But if you're expecting that on a week to week basis, yeah, I think you might want to scale it back a little bit. And I think you'll see that this Sunday. But if they show up and give up 10 points against the Dallas Cowboys, then I'll be
That'd be crazy.
and I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. I said that last week about I get it, the weather, but shit, man, this defense is really looking good right now. It's mainly the defensive. Well, it's not just only the defensive line, but the defensive line coming together has really made everything start to click. Something you deserve a lot of credit for, John, because you basically called for that all summer, where it would make it a lot better if you got a true number one on the edge, and they have certainly gotten that in Jalen Phillips through 2 games so far. So looking forward to that. That's good. That's a good one, John. Right now, the Eagles sit atop of the NFC. With the schedule that they have remaining, you got the Cowboys, you're going to have the Chargers, you're going to have the Raiders, you're going to have the Bears. It feels like the Eagles can really do it, can really do a number and win a lot of games this year. I don't know if they'll win 13, maybe 14. I don't know. I mean, they have 2 losses right now. They got
They're not going to be underdogs the rest of the season, I believe.
If they play their game, if their defense plays good, they could win out. I mean, that sounds far-fetched, but might not be as far-fetched as we thought.
No, I mean, I don't see too many games on the schedule that they could lose now. Really, and I'm talking about the next 4 games because you don't know who's going to be playing. Washington is going to be probably dead in the water, not playing anybody. Buffalo, who knows where they're going to be. So I just look at Dallas, Chicago, at the Chargers, Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas is a gimme. Let's be honest here. The Chargers are just crippled, and they're not getting better with their tackles. So I thought that might be a tough game. I don't look at that as a tough game, even though it's at SoFi. Eagles fans will take that place over. Chicago is not good enough. People think they're good, but they're not. They're Washington this year, not ready for that game. This is the toughest game at Dallas for a couple reasons. Divisional game. Week 1 was closer than people expected. Tough place to play. Good offense. Eagles should win. They're a better team, but they're explosive. So this is this is a somewhat tough game, but it's not like it's a great team.
No, they're not. They're clearly not a great team. But look, I tell you what, Quentin Williams looked like a good addition for that team, didn't he?
Yeah, he did for one. But you got to say, obviously he's talented. I mean, but there's a difference between talent and doing it consistently. There's a difference between being, and that's what you're shooting for with Jalen Carter, by the way. There's a difference between being Jalen Carter and Quentin Williams and Aaron Donald, where it's like week after week after week after week after. That's what you're striving for. He's a guy who can flash, and first game with a new team, you could tell he was up for it. Is that going to continue?
Yeah, but you could also look at it like the Eagles fans are looking at Jalen Phillips. Where you add a piece.
Yeah, I'm not ready to crown. Look, Jalen Phillips is a good player. Heck, the day he walked into that building, I said he's the best pass rusher on the team, and he clearly is. But also, he's not, Miles. He's not Micah. It's not going to be tremendous ascent week after week after week. So yeah, same thing. There's going to be down weeks, but overall, he makes them a better team. Same thing with Quentin Williams. Overall, he makes Dallas a better team. No question about it.
Yep.
But players like that need, and same, the Eagles, Vic will tell you that a million times about Jalen Carter. Same thing. Can you get to that level where you're more consistent on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, that's obviously the goal. Good stuff there, John. I do think that Cowboys team is an interesting one. It should be a good game. It's a divisional game, so there's always there's always a chance that it's super close, and I think it could be super close. I think our buddy in the chat, Roll Philly. I don't know if he's in here right now. He is in here. All right, he'll be at the game down at AT&T. Roll, it's a good stadium, man. I was there at the one of the first seasons that stadium was in place. I mentioned that to you. I was there for the first game, John, of Jalen Hurts' college career. They beat USC 52-6. Blake Barnett was supposed to be the Alabama quarterback that game. I drove from Alabama to Dallas, Texas. I was a freshman in college, and out comes Jalen Hurts to lead the offense. Nobody expected it, and he beat the USC.
Blake Barnett. Yeah.
Blake Barnett would be the quarterback. Yep. And they beat up on USC 52-6 in Jerry's World. So I was there for that game. That was the only time I've been to Jerry's World, but that is a pretty cool stadium. There's no
phenomenal
doubt.
Stadium.
Yeah.
Phenomenal stadium.
Is sick. It's sick.
Yeah. Also the best by far, by millions of, it's like a 4-star restaurant spread there. Say what you want about Jerry, but he's got class. He classes that place up. Last time I was there, I was talking to one of the ushers. We had to do a hit, and we're walking outside to do it inside the bowl of the stadium. And I was talking to one of the ushers. They tailor the sports jackets of the ushers. Class act, Jerry Jones.
Yeah. No, it's well done. He might not be great at building a football team every year, but
not a great
all the other stuff. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Good stuff there. So that stadium is pretty cool. It will be in Dallas this week. It's pretty dope. All right, so roll, enjoy the game, my friend. That's pretty cool that you are down there All right. Appreciate that. Let's get to some super chats here, John. We're going to talk to Chris Franklin in hour 2. Jason A-Team says, for people saying they want to get rid of Jalen are insane. He's the franchise QB that this city always wanted. Only franchise guy to return to a Super Bowl. I don't think anybody's saying get rid of Jalen, Jason. I don't think anybody's saying that.
I hope not, because that's not going to happen. Certainly not this year. I mean, everybody comes to a fruition. But when they're winning like this, even if it's ugly, even if there's not style points, they ain't moving on from the quarterback. That like that to the quote earlier about scapegoating. He ain't getting scapegoated if they don't live up to expectations. Others will get scapegoated, but he will not.
Fair enough. And what do you think of the context of he, only franchise guy to return to a Super Bowl?
Well, you know me in the belief, like it's not quarterbacks returning to the Super Bowl. It's teams. It's teams returning to the Super Bowl, and they have a very good team. It's not just Jalen Hurts; he's a big part of it. But I mean, I could run down the list of great quarterbacks that didn't have supporting cast. And to the same level, it's not an insult to Jalen. People take that as an insult. There's never been a quarterback from Tom Brady on down, Joe Montana, whoever you think is the best, who won with a bad supporting cast. Never. Doesn't exist. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Yada says now it's teams. Yada, what do you really think? Do you think it's all Jalen Hurts is the reason we're 40-2? And
have I ever deviated off that once in my life?
I don't think anybody should. I mean, come on, it's a team game, dude. What the fuck are you talking about here? All right, here we go. Rashid says, "Good morning, fellas. John, I hear you. Others saying the offense is ranked 20 plus and defense is middling. Offense has us as 5th overall. Offense and defense is 9. What's the difference?" Oh, PFF, I think he says. PFF.
Oh, well, differences. You're talking about individual stats and
grading
film. Yeah. I mean, everything's involved with who you trust and when it comes to film. But yeah, oftentimes that total offense and total defense numbers are not very valuable. Because of the context of, it's basically just yardage, So, it's about, if you think about falling behind by 3 touchdowns, and at the end of the day, you might have 400 yards of offense because you start throwing it all over the field trying to get back in the game. Is that really a good offensive performance? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So total offense and total defense numbers have been used forever, and they're not very valuable. And then you have advanced EPA numbers, which are more valuable. But football is a very contextual game. That's why I say it is not a statistical sport. And by that, I mean baseball is a very statistical sport because it's pitcher versus hitter. And they play a huge sample size. So the old adage, you are what the back of your baseball card says you are, it's probably correct. Football, there's a lot of layers to it, man. A lot of layers to it. But I would trust film over total numbers, to say the least.
Well, part of the PFF grade too is that they don't have negative plays, so their risk averse approach does grade out better, right?
Yeah, last time I looked, and again the internet's down. I can't get there. Last time I looked, and I haven't looked. I haven't looked this week. Coming into last week, I think they were the 5th ranked team. I don't have offense and defense in front, but 5th overall, which is about right, But yeah, I football is not a statistical game. It just isn't. It just isn't. There's so many. Think about garbage numbers at the end of blowouts, and it's just, and then people forget about it and say, well, so and so threw for 350 yards, all empty numbers, in a particular game. Not always. Sometimes it's huge, but you really got to bear down and look at high leverage situations, and then say, all right, who's performing well in high leverage situation, and that's where you get, the best grades. And I always say, first thing, take out the worst game and take out the best game. Number one, right off the bat.
Right. It's actually a good exercise by you. Rashid, thank you, brother. Real quick, he followed up and says, also, PFF has Jalen Hurts as the highest graded player other than Tank Bigsby. I don't know if that's for last week or the year or what.
Yeah, I think it was last week. I don't think it's a year, but I can't get there. Last week, I think he was the highest rated player. Maybe Tank was higher, but he barely plays 3-4 plays. But yeah, he was the highest graded player in that game, I believe, but I can't get there. I believe. But I just skimmed it. I didn't really look at it.
Rashid, thank you, brother. Here's my boy Brody. What's up, Brody? Thanks for the big super chat, brother. $20 super chat here. He says, I think I'm at the point where I'd rather have a passing attack. Yes, we win a lot, but it's so painful to watch, and every week it's nothing but angst and drama. Kind of saps the joy out of all the winning for me.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate the thought. Look, hey, if you don't like watching it, at the end of the day, it's entertainment.
That's right.
That's what I say. Well, it should be at the end of the day, but people are so passionate about it.
Yeah,
I say all the time, this product is awful. The NFL as a whole. I don't know why you guys watch it. I think it would be tough for me to watch this product, the NFL as a whole, if I didn't have to watch this product.
Right.
It is bad.
Like if you didn't do this, you wouldn't watch much football.
It is bad. It has gotten really bad. And part of that is self-inflicted mistakes because they think people like offense. And for the most part, they do, as a point to Brody here, who wants to see more offense. But, and I'll say it again, every action has a reaction. So they hamstrung, and you have these little pockets. It goes back and forth where they hamstring the defense, and then the offense is throwing the ball all over the place. Think about years ago, you couldn't just leave the pocket and throw the ball to the line of scrimmage. You had to eat a sack or do something. They've done everything to help offenses, and then it takes the defense, and that's why I like defensive coaches better than offensive coaches, because they're the ones who always got to go, shit, I got to figure something out.
Exactly.
And then they figure it out. But what they figured out is go kill the quarterback. So it's interesting. They're all this safety dogma. If they played the game like they used to play the game, it would actually be safer for the quarterbacks because you can actually play defense. Now defense has become either get to that MFer if you have a good quarterback, not, with bad quarterbacks, you can do whatever you want. But with the good ones, you either get to them and get them off a spot or you're screwed unless there's 40-mile-an-hour winds or something like that. So these guys take more hits. They take more punishment because they're always coming at them like locomotives, trying to not only get them off the spot, but try to make them know, hey, we're going to be here all day and we're going to keep hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. And it has become this ugly, it is an ugly, ugly product. And it's a self-inflicted wound. And then I think the second part is you'll watch a game for 55 minutes and it's just awful football. But the last 5 minutes are so compelling because it's a close game and they're going back and forth and it's exciting. And I think that sort of swindles people as well. But yeah, it's a bad product. And I get people who want to be entertained. I appreciate it. The Eagles offense is not entertaining. It is not.
No, it's not at all.
I would never try to tell people it's entertaining remotely. It is ugly. It is not aesthetic, to be kind. Um, and hey, if that's what you want, I get it. But I just
Well, I'm
said,
always
be careful, be careful, be careful what you wish for, because if you get that, you're probably not going to win as much.
yeah. John, I love the business element of things. I always have. I've always been very interested in it. And I think fans won't like this conversation because they probably don't give a shit, which is fine. But like it is a business, and like entertainment, as you just pointed out, is a part of it. Like, do you think Jeffrey Lurie thinks about that? I mean, let's call a spade here. Amazon's paying nearly $100 million for one game, one fucking game. People, think about that. Like, I know fans are just like, just win. How much do you think the business of it like actually comes into the thought process of owners and teams and stuff like that? Or maybe it's not at all. Maybe that's just for the TV.
Well, I think you've seen it in baseball, because baseball actually, ESPN said, you know what? We're not
Yeah,
getting
right.
our return on investment. This
Exactly.
is, and they started to shift some things with the play clock and the stupid pitch clock, excuse me, and, banning the shift and things like that, that made it a really poor product from an aesthetic standpoint. If that ever happens to the NFL, they'll have to make some adjustments. There's no evidence that that's going to happen. The only thing that holds up in the TV ratings is
Yeah,
NFL.
it's true.
People watch no matter what, and as long as they do, nothing's changing. I mean, to me, the over legislation of the game is the biggest problem. It's just a shit show. It is an absolute shit show. All anybody talks about is officiating. All anybody talks about, any game anywhere across the country.
It bothers me that the officials aren't full-time employees.
Well, I've talked about that for years. I've written
Like, if you
about it
think
for
about
years.
it, this is every team is worth $6+ billion. And you're telling me the guys who legislate the game in real time, who are largely responsible for a lot of the way the product looks to your consuming audience, they're not full-time employees? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's like
Well, yeah, well, it's gotten a lot better, but there's no reason they can't be at every practice, every, the old days when everybody would have these good jobs, and, basically their off job. It was almost like, you know, a teacher double dipping, seasonal work and getting a highly paid seasonal job. Yeah, those days were embarrassing for the league, and they have fixed that to a certain degree. But their argument has always been, um, there's not enough work to make them full time employees. Um, my argument has always been, and the referees association, they have a union, by the way. By the way, it's always because they don't want to take their real jobs. They want their real jobs, and they want it. So you have there. It's a bigger problem than people realize. But um, to me, at the end of the day, you're getting bogged down in the weeds. I agree with you. There's no reason they can't be at practices, OTAs, and the Eagles hire their own officials. By the way, they have officials at every practice for the most part. Um, but there's no reason the league can't mandate, all right, you got to be here, you got to be here, blah, 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 and make them sharper. But to me, that's not even the problem. The bigger problem, they do a pretty damn good job. And I say this consistently, and I
I
know
agree with I agree with that.
nobody agrees with me. Maybe I've
I
won you
do.
over
I
to a
do.
little
I
bit.
think overall they do a decent job. I mean, I get it. There are games where people are mad at the officials, but dude, there's like 1,000 fucking rules these guys are watching in real
It
time.
is untenable to the point you hear these. I once got in a fight with Terry McCauley, McCauley on Twitter, and I wasn't even insulting him. My point was that Terry was doing a game and didn't even know the rules of the rule. And I said, if Terry McCauley doesn't know the rule, how the freak are we supposed to know the rule? Um, and we made up, and it wasn't a big thing, but he misunderstood. He thought I was ripping him. I'm not ripping him. And 99% of the time, people aren't, I say this, you probably heard me say this a million times. People aren't complaining about the officiating, they're complaining about the legislation. They don't like the rule. They don't like the rule.
Yeah, I agree.
Like there was a play where a body weight play where a defensive guy sacked the quarterback, and it was a great play. And here comes the flag, and everybody's saying, "How could that be?" That's what they tell him to do. It was a perfect call from an official standpoint. Didn't get off the body weight of the quarterback. People hate the rule, which I agree with. I hate the rule too.
Right. But that's
Um,
not on the official.
exactly. And so many times it's that. And then you get to the point of like the AJ play at the end of the game with Rocky Sin. I mean, what the fuck is that? I don't know. Sometimes they call it, sometimes they don't call it. They make it so untenable. The everybody gets super obsessed with the tush push. It's a shit show. But you know what I noticed watching Red Zone? It ain't the tush push, which I've said from day one. I can't tell you how many games guy gets stopped, and here comes the offensive line, and 6 guys push him more 5 yards down the field. Get it the fuck out of the game. And again, I think most fans, it used to be out of the game for there was no pushing of offensive players in the NFL for far longer than pushing has been allowed. Far longer. It's got to be removed from the game. It's an unfair advantage for the offense. The legislation of this league is a disaster, and where it really shows up, where it really is comical to me, is the international games, because nobody has any fucking idea what they're watching. These international fans, they just want to go because it's popular. Hey, there's a game in Madrid. I apologize to Madrid for that Dolphins Commanders game. It was so ugly.
Oh man, that was bad.
It's like if you're not indoctrinated and you're not grown up with professional football, with NFL American football, you have no idea what's going on. There's so many arcane, useless rules, legislation. It's unbelievable that this
really
product is as popular as it is. But by all means, continue to be this popular, because it is an ugly product from an entertainment standpoint.
Yep, no doubt about it. I don't know, John. I just looked it up. It says there's 121 officials in the NFL. I mean, what do you want to pay him? Pay him 250 G's a pop. That sounds like a pretty good salary to me. What would that be? Top of my head, I think that's
it's a very short season. Remember,
$30 million though. I mean, they're making $700 million for one fucking game on Amazon. I mean, come on, you can't pay.
Well, it's not about paying them. What are they going to do when there's nothing to do?
We're officiating the NFL. Somebody's got to do it.
Well, yeah, but if they're not, the goal is presumably to improve. Although I don't think that's the issue.
No, but my point, I get what you're saying. Like, there's not that much workload. Like, they probably have 20 days of work.
So in essence, you're just paying a guy and he's going to go get his shitty second job anyway. And most of them, by the way, aren't shitty. Most of them have really good jobs.
Yeah, right.
Or back in the old days. But nowadays, they have improved it. They have improved that part of it dramatically to where I don't complain about it. In the old days, it was like, this guy's a lawyer and he does football on the side. Now it's not like that. They are much closer to full-time employees now, and they do have them do other things. But in their rare defense, there's only so much you can do. We talk about the dead periods here.
I just think, I don't know, the way I see it is it's a small price to pay for like protection of your investment. But if you're telling me you don't think it protects or improves the investment that much, then it makes sense why they maybe wouldn't go that route.
Yeah, I mean, they pay him like full-time. That pay is not the issue. They pay him like full-time employees. The issue is finding work for them to make them improve at their jobs. And I don't think that's the issue either. I think the issue is the over legislation of the
And
league.
people giving them the direction on what they have to freaking call.
Exactly. And then they make it difficult, far more, catches. Is that a catch? Is that not a catch? It's like they made it so overly legislative. Well, the ball moved. The ball moved slightly as he rolled over, and he's gonna go. It's like, dude, it's a catch. The old bar test. 99 people think it's a catch. It's probably a catch. Now, again, you're gonna have fans, but objectively, and these guys, I was watching a college game. It was an ACC game. I forget what game it was, but and they do this, and the UFL does this. They take you into the ACC decision making, whatever they call it, live while they're looking at the play that they're looking at. And it's so informative and it's so transparent. And 9 times out of 10, they get it right. Even with the over legislation. But I don't, for the life of me, don't know why they make it so difficult. Just go to a sky judge, just say, hey, and by the way, this is with everything, like that last pass interference. Somebody's in his ear for everything else. Say, you know what? You guys missed that. Pick it up. Bang. Fixed. It's so easy.
Yeah, that
So
seems like a
easy. So easy. For whatever reason, they don't want to do it. Missed face masks happen every week. I saw another one last night. Bang down. Yeah, hey, you guys, there was a face mask. Bang. Fix it.
Maybe that's where we're going. Technology refs, AI refs might be coming next. John, good breakdown, by the way. I think it's a good. I love conversations like these. I don't know if everybody else does, but
they hate it. But
here goes SMD Eagle. She says, "Good morning. Quick question about banning the tush push. When they ban it, will they ban pushing on offense altogether, or just ban pushing on the QB sneak?" It's a good question.
Yeah, my belief is they'll ban pushing as a whole, which they should do. And that's been my argument from day one. And by the way, for the people that don't know, that used to be the rule for 40 plus years.
Right.
No pushing of offensive. You see that every week in every game. It is an absolute disaster where, again, a ball carrier stopped. They don't blow the whistle, and here comes and they just chug them down there an extra 5 yards. Really unfair to the defense. I believe when they do ban it, and they will ban it eventually, it will be framed as pushing as a whole. Now, their problem and the reason they allowed it was because they claimed it became too hard to officiate. Sound familiar? But they got to get pushing out of the game. They got to get pushing out of the game.
I think that's what's coming next. Good stuff. Brody, appreciate your super chat. SMD, appreciate your chat. Let's keep getting. We'll have Chris Franklin here in a couple minutes. Worst behavior says, do you think there's an impact of the run game with Steen tapping the center to snap? Dead giveaway when the play starts and improves defense's reaction time.
No, they've been doing it for years. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
You're on the road, you use silent count. Some people might use the left guard. The Eagles use the right guard. They've been doing it for years through multiple coaching staffs and multiple right guards. I asked Kelsey once, why is it always the right guard? He said, it's just the way we do it. You got to do it some way. I mean, literally, go watch any game with a team on the road in a hostile environment. They'll do a similar thing. It's not Eagle-centric at all.
Yeah, agreed. I get a kick out of speaking of counts, I get a kick out of Dak last night. Even on the kneel down, John, even on the kneel down at the end of the game, Dak, here we go. I'm like, oh my gosh, even at the end when there's but I get it.
No, the worst is, and John Gruden agrees with me on this. He always does his stupid quarterback things, and he's like, give me your snap count. And all the college quarterbacks look at him like he's crazy because all they do is snap their
Right.
It drives me
I saw
insane.
that video with Jackson Dart and Gruden's like, the fuck? Is that it? Is that what you're doing?
It's insane. There's no, people talk about young quarterbacks under center, and like these guys don't do it, and they're not comfortable doing it, and they don't. How many yards has Aaron Rodgers stolen over his career just with his ability to manipulate lines and draw people off sides? It's a lost art, man. It is a lost art. And the Eagles have done a pretty good job with it with the tush push. They've gotten a lot of offsides. They've got a lot of false starts as well. So Jalen's gotten better and better. But I can't even watch a college game with the constant. It's brutal to me. It is brutal. It just drives me insane.
Fair enough. Here's Rashid. He says, also, PFF has Jalen. Oh, we already read that. Thanks, Rashid. Appreciate it. Diesel says, I look at the Eagles the way they play. It's like a wrestler, and MMA people say it looks boring. But if I limit the punches, I take the better chance I have at winning that fight. Yeah, it's a coaching philosophy. I mean, limit.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, wrestlers, legitimate wrestlers. I'm not going WWE on you, but they especially when MMA started to first get really popular, wrestlers would dominate. Now that guys have become more well-rounded, it's not quite as dominant, but if you can win that way without getting punched in the face, those guys, Brock Lesnar, I will go WWE. He went out of WWE and won the UFC heavyweight title just because he's a better wrestler than everybody else, because he was a legit wrestler. And then eventually, guys start to evolve fighting styles, and it became more difficult for them.
Yeah, like Floyd Money Mayweather, man. You couldn't punch him. Can't punch the guy.
Best defensive fighter of all time, Floyd Mayweather. Boring, though. Boring.
Yeah, well, Floyd Mayweather might be like the Eagles. Here's him, Bison. What's up, brother? That's why the tush push will survive. The drama is money, business-wise. I don't know. You could make an argument the other way, too, that it's bad for the viewing audience.
Yeah, no, it's going to go. It's just a matter of when. It's become, they can't officiate it, and it's become a shit show. So it is what it is. It won't affect the Eagles. The Eagles, to me, and in fact, it's changed. You saw Detroit did the best job of anybody. Stopped it, twice? And really 4 times if you count the false starts, which one could have been on them. Again, shit show aspect. One certainly was on the Eagles, but one could have gone either way. That was the Tyler Steen play when he was taught to, touch the guy because he was in the neutral zone, but they didn't see it. It's a shit show. I mean, and it's not even going to affect the Eagles. The Eagles' success on quarterback sneaks has more to do with the quarterback than the tush push. You spread them out. Look at those quarterback draws. You spread people out. I've been saying this for years. Even put Jalen Hurts under center. You see it with quarterback draws, but those are design running plays. If you have that same spread formation and just let them pick the hole, nobody's stopping that. You'd be more successful doing that than you are with the tush push now, because everybody's hyper focused on throwing the kitchen sink at you. You're muted.
My bad. Sorry about that. Bison, appreciate the super chat, brother. Here's Dice Manx. I don't know how to pronounce that. He says, look at the Bulls. Pats, boys run. None ended well.
I don't know what you're talking about. What am I missing? What happened?
Look at the Bulls, Pats, and boys, maybe Pats and Cowboys, Patriots and Cowboys runs. None ended well. Look at the Bulls. So I guess he's talking about 3 dynasties that didn't end well.
No dynasty ends well. Eventually, it's over. I mean,
right.
You can't be good forever. People age out, players age out. And then you got to it's cyclical. I say it all the time. The Eagles will get bad again. And they will get bad again. I can't tell you when. It's a hell of a run. It's the best run in franchise history. But this is a cyclical industry. They will get bad again. I don't think the beauty of the good teams and the good organizations is those lulls won't be as bad as the god awful lulls of the bad organizations. But they won't always be this good. It's not possible. It's just, again, you could point to Michael Jordan and Tom Brady and the Aikman, Smith, Urban Cowboys. It ends for everybody.
Yeah. That's kind of what he's saying. He says that's why worrying about Jalen is nonsense. Elite players aren't friends for life.